Very good morning. Thanks for clicking on to the Friday edition of Vogan's European Outlook for the 6th of January. We do have areas of low pressure that continue to ride a rather strong jet stream across the Atlantic at the moment, zonal in nature. So therefore, we continue with this up and down temperature regime, always leaning on the milder side of things. But we had an area of low pressure that passed by to the north last night. Some pretty gusty winds during the second half of the overnight here in Edmonton, north of Inverness, and we do have another area of low pressure dropping into the 930s in millibars, well to the west of the British Isles, however. So we aren't, albeit we will see wind and rain. This system is slowing down on approach thanks to high pressure over eastern portions of Europe. That area of high pressure, may I add, we need to watch some of the temperature, some of the model output for temperatures even in Moscow look as if it is dropping into the upper minus 20s, daytime temperatures into the low to mid minus 20s. So a very, very cold air mass now starting to dig in the eastern portions of Europe. But that, in a sense, is acting as a blocker. And with areas of low pressure continuing on a stronger than normal jet across the Atlantic and into the British Isles, we have this battle, this fight, which the Atlantic is continuing to win through the next wee while or so. But you notice here, this is the geopotential 500 millibar height field here, and we do have that rather flat, rather zonal orientation of the jet stream here. You can see these areas of low pressure coming in off Canada. But notice here at the very, very end of the run, you can see that we've got a little bit of a height rise over eastern portions of North America. That may start to allow areas of low pressure to drop in from a more northwesterly direction as opposed to the west. And sometimes these areas of low pressure do tend to hold on a little bit colder air. It's got a little bit less ocean to cross, and it can come straight out of Greenland as well. So we'll keep our eyes on that, and we'll wait and see what happens. My general thinking is that as we progress through the second half of January, albeit I still believe that the Atlantic is going to be the driver, I do believe that we are going to trend colder. And I did see one comment saying that I need to make up my mind with regards to what my thinking is towards the overall winter forecast, and even the mention of editing my winter forecast. Quite honestly, if I'm being totally brutal with you, is nonsense, because if you notice and you've read right the way through my winter forecast, up until now it's been consistent. I've not been chopping and changing. I have been saying that we would have a mild first half of January based on a non-stratospheric warming event and whatnot. The Managerial Oscillation wouldn't hold on cold phases that we've seen back in the early portion of December. That is all materializing, and as we progress through the month of January, I'm sticking to the ideas that I've had all along, that we would have a colder trend through the second half of the month, and I'm sticking by that, folks. Looking at the ECMWF, so this is the weeklies here, and this is the 850 anomaly here. And what is rather interesting to see is the amount of cold air across northern portions of Asia, so up across Siberia, the coldest region on the planet, being well below freezing. We could see some notable temperatures here in places such as Oymyakon, Yakutsk, places that are typically the coldest anywhere out with Greenland. We could see some temperatures of significance, I think, in the next wee while or so. Notice the strong, positive 850 temperatures over eastern Siberia. We've also got the same over in North America as well, and we've got the negative here across Greenland, extending into the Atlantic here, where areas of low pressure are continuing to run. We've got a lot of warmth over Europe, as you can see here, which is rather interesting. But as we continue to play through it, you notice here that we start to see the 850s warmer than normal across the top over the Arctic region. So this is taking us to the final days of January. and the ECMWF weeklies, along with other models, are indicating it's as if it's sniffing out strong blocking over the Arctic region, and that is quite interesting to see, because we do have a lot of interesting things going on in the models at the moment with regards to the stratosphere. Now, up until now, it continuously showed this warming taking place from Siberia towards the pole, but you know the downward propagation is focusing over eastern portions of North America, the upward over Siberia, Alaska. To me, anyway, folks, that would indicate that we would have the coldest core of temperature and strongest winds pushed towards our side of the pole, that would enhance the positive North Atlantic oscillation, albeit forcing the storm track a little bit further south. Therefore, it would possibly keep Scotland a little colder. It would keep things milder further south. But there's been a couple of developments in the last 24 or so hours that indicate that we could be seeing something a little bit more significant in terms of that warming. Now, as we play through the latest run of the GFS here, you can see the strong warming taking place over southeastern portions of Europe, right the way around that vortex. So right the way through Asia and into the Western North America. And in essence, it's forcing the shrinking of the vortex itself. Look at the squeeze that we're starting to see now developing. And that is, it could be, and I'm not jumping on it and saying that this is exactly what is going to happen, because I do not want to start hyping this up. But that there, folks, could almost start to suggest that the models are now seeing the potential of a sudden stratospheric warming. If this was to happen, the result would be probably in February. That also means that a cooler second half to January, but not in response to the sudden stratospheric warming, if that was to happen. But notice here, this is a tweet by our good friend Marco Patagna of the Met Office, showing very strong zonal winds at 10 HPA. Then there is a notable, this is off the ECMWF by the way, a notable deceleration of winds within 10 millibar zonal wind field here, indicating the potential for a sudden stratospheric warming towards the kind of 18th to 20th of January time frame. Remember, there's usually a 10 to 14 day lag after any sudden stratospheric warming takes place here. So very, like I keep saying, very interesting times certainly ahead, and that's why I've said time and time again, I don't think we can write off winter just because we enter a very mild spell in the period really between the run up to Christmas and through the first half of January. I think people tend to jump too quickly on that. Sometimes it doesn't come back. 2009, 2010, 2011 really seen the end of winter after the coldest December in 100 years for the British Isles here. So it doesn't always happen, but every winter, every La Nina, every sudden stratospheric warming, every year is different, is unique to the last. And even when all the parameters come together, it doesn't necessarily mean that the outcome is going to be the same. I think that's very, very important to emphasize here. But certainly, again, one to watch. It is interesting to see what the models are sniffing out. We do have an active jet stream at the moment. I think we start to see a slowdown in the jet as the buildup of pressure starts to take place over the top once again. And remember, I showed you a couple of days ago the buildup of pressure even over the Atlantic. Now, I think that the GFS run is indicating this buildup of pressure off eastern North America, which would indicate that we would start to slow down the jet stream over the Atlantic. That changes the parameters of the pattern over Western Europe here. So a lot of things to look at, so keep it right here on my YouTube channel. I do appreciate each and every one of you viewing my videos, my channel. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button as well, and stay tuned for more. Hopefully see you again tomorrow with more. Bye for now.